What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Project Manga podcast of M.A.N.G.A.
It's your boy Kiko.
Eagle.
We're back with tangential tie-ins, hitting you with another bonus episode in lieu of Jump coverage, since Jump is on break again this week. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about Hunter x Hunter, and kind of similar to the One Piece appreciation that we had, we're going to be taking a look at the series and everything we love about it. Basically, it's regarded as one of the best adaptations in the shonen genre. You won't find a lot of people that'll argue with that. Definitely not us. We're definitely big fans, and we just wanted something easy to talk about, you know, that doesn't really require much prep, just so we can get another bonus episode out there for you, since, like I said, there is no Jump coverage. So specifically the Hunter x Hunter 2011 adaptation for the anime, just because that is something that on the anime side of things is definitely one of our favorites, and we have a lot of sentimental value like tied to it, you know, in regard to our fandom of just the shonen genre in general. So wanted to take it, you know, play by play here, talk about some of our favorite characters, some of our favorite moments, what got us into the series, why we regard it as one of our favorites, and why we think it's one of the best, things like that. Before we get into that, though, take a look at the link tree in the description. That's going to be where you see all of our online communities, all of our social media accounts, including our Discord. Giveaway coming soon, actually, in the next couple days here on Friday. We're actually going to be doing that. We're going to be going live on Facebook and on Instagram. I'll have the links to my Instagram and the Project Manga Facebook in the description for you if you wanted to follow that. But all of the contestants, or all of the people in the running, are actually locked in now. I screenshotted the member list of our Discord around noon today, and those will be everybody that's in the running there. So if you're already in the Discord, check us out on Friday and see if you can get one of these figures. We got the All Might figure, the Luffy figure, and the Sailor Moon figure up for grabs. So we'll be assigning each member a number and then running that through a random number generator, and then we'll do that 3 times until all of the figures have been won. But yeah, going into the topic, I feel like a good conversation starter for it would just be like the moment in the series that like really goated it for us. I mean, maybe not goated it, but like just like let us know that this series was
that
yes, that it was something
we're here
special,
to stay.
that we're here to stay. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if anybody wanted to start that off for us.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So how I got into it in general is, again, my sister. This isn't the first time I said this on here, but she put me on, and she just sent me a clip of Gon and Hisoka fighting in Heaven's Arena in the 2011 version. That's like right when that episode came out, and I saw that shit, and it's like boom, watched it right away. You know, I was like, oh damn, because she originally sent me like, you know, shit of the 99, and I was just like, man, this just looks too old and too, you know, whatever, you know, and I didn't give it a chance. And so when I gave it a chance, and going through, you know, early Hunter exam time, whatnot, you get the impression that this is just another lighthearted shonen. You'll learn otherwise in due time. In
literally episodes. I think that by episode 3, it's the first time someone dies.
Right. Yeah, and honestly, this is gonna sound funny, but where I was like truly hooked is, so like most anime, Hunter has like the intermissions in between fucking commercials. Yeah. And in that very first one with the Hunter exam, they have like Hunter vocabulary, and it's, you know, their fucking, you know, characters, and then it'll say, you know, you come back and they're like, here's what this means or whatever. Yeah. And so it's the one where fucking Hisoka's on the thing, and then on the way out of the episode, it's just where the like card comes up. Yeah, but going into the intermission. Yeah. Going into the intermission, and then coming out of the intermission, he does like the 180 backspin and throws it in and breaks your fucking screen, and the fucking, you know, glass is broken. Yes. I was like, that's the hottest shit I ever seen in a goddamn intermission in my life. Yeah. And I was like, I was already fucking with Hisoka, because that's like episode 4 or 5, and it's like that's like right when he throws the fucking cards at Sato's. There's the Sato's clone that was the little fucking, the little monkey, like clone, the human clone monkey thing. Yeah. Yeah, and then he threw him at Sato's, and he catches them all. And he's like, okay. So you're the real ranker. Yeah, and then fucking Sato's is like, okay, I understand why you did that. Do it again in his hands. Like, yeah, that's right. Hell yeah. and I was just like, man, this already is so fucking tight. And I just knew like how hard my sister hyped it up that it was. That I just knew like I was nowhere near the best that this series has to offer, and I was already geeked out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm like, oh my god, like I was just glued, and I caught up to the 2011 anime like towards the end of Yorkshin arc, and maybe right at the beginning of Greed Island. And so I started reading Greed Island, and that's I read it through there. And then I went back and read it again and read it again and watched it again and watched it again. And I think it's the greatest anime of all time, 2011.
And I'll agree with you there. I think it really just is like the best adaptation that I've seen so far. And you can just tell that Madhouse just cared so much about really just recreating the entire story the way that it was supposed to be experienced, which is exactly how it happened in the manga because it's so masterfully written and handled and paced. And
Madhouse OP.
Yeah, Madhouse OP, bro. Like seriously, like. And just like the color palette on it, like the filter that they have on it, like when you compare it to like the 99 version, there's definitely a more darker tone throughout, and that has maybe a lot to do with just how anime were made back then. But like just like the stylistically, I really appreciate how the Hunter x Hunter 2011 adaptation went, because it definitely, like you were saying, does feel like a lighthearted story, and it keeps that kind of energy from the outside looking in throughout the entire series, of course, until you get into the Chimera Ant saga where. And even in the Phantom Troop arc, like, you know, like even though that's arguably one of the more darker times in the series, there still is that like kind of, that filter over it that makes it look like I don't want to say cartoony, but it just you just can't know from the outside looking in until you experience it, like what kind of series it is and exactly like what it's trying to do and how dark it can be. You know what I mean? If anybody just like turned on any episode, no matter where it's at in the series, they might get a certain impression of it that, it is kind of, a more lighthearted theme, but
yeah.
But
I mean, they also, depending on the episode they pick, might get that other impression. You know what I'm saying? They might get the hound.
Yeah, yeah.
Spit the fucking.
Oh man, dude. My guy Uvo Geen. Oh, that's my guy.
Was that your moment, Eagle? What was the moment?
No, that was deep. That was deep into the shits.
Yeah. What was the moment that had you like, okay?
It was kind of like I don't know. The first time I was like, okay, I can fuck with this was when they were on the ship at first. And you know what I'm saying?
Really?
The first episode.
And Leorio and fucking Kurapika are like talking that shit. Like, what the fuck was Kurapika saying to Leorio?
Kurapika wasn't using honorifics and wouldn't address him as his equal.
That's right.
And
he wouldn't say senpai or some shit like that. And he's like, yo, I said it twice now. Say, like, pull that shit again. In his hands.
No, he's got the knife back then. He's got the butterfly knife back then.
But when he hadn't done it yet, and then the third time he's like, all right, bro, step outside.
Yeah.
And then he's like, he whips out, and like they're fucking out there on the ship, and like the fucking Lario's jacket is like blowing in the fucking wind, and so is Kurapika's shit. And then like that fucking little cabin boy, that bitch ass cabin boy, like gets blown off the ship or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Gon just comes like flying across, jumps off, and they both catch him by one ankle each.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can fuck with this shit.
Yes, bro.
Hey,
Because he's like, trusted him to fucking kill. Yeah, I dig that shit.
Yeah.
Back then, didn't you feel like that was going to be the Zoro and Sanji? Like they were always going to be beefing and they were always going to be fighting the whole time. But they went
then another.
They figured it out. They came to a good spot, and then obviously Leorio's just gone for half the series.
Yeah,
being a doctor.
Yeah.
The thing that hooked me on the other side of the series though was when early on, also in the Hunter exam, is when Killua fought that fucking blonde serial killer dude, right?
Johannes.
And and he fucking plucks his fucking heart out. I'm like, okay, let's go. I can fuck with this shit.
Hell yeah.
He's like holding his shit in the fucking
in the shirt that he ripped off, like that,
the little chunk of his fucking shirt
he
that
put
he
the
took
heart in
out.
there. And it's crazy seeing that You know,
he's like, give it back.
Yeah, give it back. And it doesn't happen that way in the manga, because like in the manga, it's a little bit more ruthless. He rips his heart out the same way. It's pretty much the exact same scene. But when Johannes looks back and sees that he has his heart in the manga, it's like the most well-drawn anatomically correct heart you've ever seen, with like ventricles and like valves and like blood like pouring out, and it's like in his hand, and then like the Killua like zooms in on Killua's face. Damn. And he just looks so sinister, and Johannes is like, that's mine, and he crushes it in his face.
Is that cap you always use of Killua's face? Yeah, that's when he looks sinister. Like,
that's when he looks he looks at Johannes just like that.
He said,
ruthless as hell.
Yeah, and then he crushes the heart in Johannes's face as he's leaping for it. You know what I mean? He's leaping, but in the anime, Johannes kind of like comes to a slow crawl while he has the bag with the heart, and then he like kind of like falls, and then he puts the bag with his heart in his hand, which is still pretty savage. But I prefer I feel like I prefer the manga version of that. But
I'm glad you brought
I wish Madhouse would have done the whole anatomically correct heart.
There were certain things that they just had to censor, because it's like,
I feel like there's only like 2 things.
Yeah, there really is only, I
feel like things. It's that, and the other one that I was sad about is that you don't actually get to see Pito pick Paco's brains with the fucking Nen needles. Right, you know, you get to see it kind of like far away in a weird angle. Yeah, but like if you didn't read the manga,
antenna like poking out of the bottom of the screen, but you don't see like his head.
Yeah, so it's I wish they'd have did that, but I mean I get it. But so I also like that you brought.
I don't get it. They should have done this shit.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
fuck them kids.
Yeah. Early, like the Johannes, you know, that makes more sense than like Paco, because it's like y'all are dead in the shits now. Like, we're done. You know, we already had to deal with indoor fish.
Yeah.
we had to deal with Sphinx just running around and just turning heads. Whap, whap, just heads are spinning. Like it's like we're past
when Uvo when the Yakuza dude is in Uvo's face and he shoots him with the bullet, and Uvo catches it with his teeth, and he's like, "Yo, how'd you do that?" And then Uvo smacks him in the top of the head, and his shit is upside down.
So funny.
Yo,
it's hilarious. It was hard not to laugh at some of the moments, you know,
because the shock, because the shit. His shit's literally,
and you get to see it from his point of view, where he's basically standing sideways. You know,
Oh my God. They've used that camera angle a couple times in the show, which, and I can't remember if in the manga, in the Chimera Ant arc when they're fighting
girl's head around.
Yeah, the chick with the poison stinger and the wings or whatever, when they're fighting in that cave that used to be like the headquarters of Gyro, right? And then they're fighting that like centaur Chimera Ant, and then like his 2 little goons, which was like the dude with like the 16 arms, and then the bitch with the wings and the poison stinger tail, and she sticks Killua with the tail, you know, or she like faints or something with like a claw, and then he like uses the snake awakens and like evaporates her arms, and she's like, "Psych, I was waiting to get you with the stinger," and then like gets him with the stinger, and she's like, "It's poison," and then he like falls over and like feigns death, and then gets back up, and she's looking at Gon fighting the dude, and all of a sudden it's just like the camera goes like 180 upside down, like, and Killua's on top of her, like, yeah, bro. Yeah.
I was showing people those caps in the manga before the anime was there to get them to fucking watch the anime. I was like, all right, I don't want to spoil too much, but here, boom, head upside down. Enough shown. Like, all right, go watch the shit.
Right, yeah. That's definitely one scene that you could definitely show people too. But I feel like the best scene, like you were saying, to show someone who doesn't know anything about Hunter x Hunter is that Gon versus Hisoka fight, because they're not using a lot
of taijutsu.
They're not using nen. It shows like what the choreographing, you know, what the choreography looks like in the series. It looks beautiful, like the color palette, like it just like, you know, has all of Hisoka's colors, all of Gon's colors, you know, like it's a tournament arc, you know what I mean? Like it's just like all around an amazing, you know, scene to show someone who might be thinking about getting into the series without spoiling too much. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And you got the That fight is clean as fuck.
It's super clean, bro. Yes.
He's okay. It's that.
Yeah.
It's gone signature tile flip.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Hell yeah. And you want to know what? That scene, pretty much panel for panel, is exactly how it happens in the manga. That's how cold-blooded Togashi's choreography was, that they could just literally copy it exactly, and it's still, you know, an amazing scene like that. They don't really have to add anything, But probably for me, what really got me, like, the moment where I was like, okay, this shit is gas, was actually like a moment in the Hunter exam when they were on Zevel Island and they were looking for the tags, right? They were hunting each other's tags, and there was a moment where, like, you really got to see that this, like, world, or at least Kurapika, is a very, like, logic and reason based character, where I think it was Leorio's tag had been taken, and then, like, the person, like, ran away, or, like, because he was after Ponzu, right? Leorio was, and they were having a conversation, and I can't remember it exactly verbatim right now, but Kurapika was like, okay, so there's basically 4 logical explanations for, like, what happened with this tag. 1, she's alive and has the tag. 2, she's dead and has the tag. 3, she's dead, or she, like, buried the tag somewhere and then, like, ran away, in which case we'll never find it. Or, like, and like, just going through, like, all of, like, the only things that could have possibly happened with the tag. I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, and it's just, like, little moments like that, because, like, when you start the series, like, you don't get Nen until, like, the 30s of the, you know, of the episodes, right? So, and I'm sitting here, like, going, like, this story doesn't even need superpowers, and it's, and it, you know, and it's amazing because this is back, like, in, you know, in a time in my life where I was like, I only care about anime if it's, you know, a team of people with special abilities, and everyone's got a, you know, a certain thing that they can do better than everybody else, and, like, I needed, like, a One Piece style, you know, superpower story, you know. And then I watch Hunter x Hunter, and I'm like, okay, this is really good without superpowers. And then you get superpowers, like, later, and the story doesn't even rely on them like every other story, you know. Like, you pretty much learn about chakra in chapter 1, devil fruits in chapter 1, like, you know, Reiatsu and Kido in chapter 1, you know what I mean? Like, when you have a story that, and especially a story that relies so heavily on its power system, like, Hunter relies just as much on Nen as One Piece does devil fruits and Naruto does chakra. But Togashi was like, let me paint this picture of the kind of world that we're in that's ran by deception and logic and reasoning before I give you Nen, because you need to know, like, what having Nen means in a world like this first.
But
yeah, you guys want to have a conversation about, like, some of our favorite characters?
Man, favorite characters is so hard because there's just so many good characters. Like, it's almost
we can just ring off a few maybe, and then
I definitely want to, but it's just like, I'm gonna be a little indecisive here, so maybe one of y'all should go first.
Eagle,
well,
do you have a number 1 favorite character? Sorry to kind of put you on the spot. I feel like I've been doing that a lot lately.
I swear to God. Well, dude, it's either got to be Razor or Uvogin. I feel like I want to talk about Uvogin because we were already talking about him.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's just like, I feel like Uvogin, he had a weird placement in the story where, like, we get introduced to him and then he, like, dies really quickly after that.
Right.
But I always felt like he was, like, kind of a sneak peek into the future. He was, like, kind of like look what Gon is about to be type shit. And he was, like, really similar, like, even kind of wore similar clothes and shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And that motherfucker was a monster, bro.
Short squad.
Yeah.
Was scary, bro.
Yeah, that was the first time I was actually, like, worried about, like, I mean, like, Hisoka, like, is obviously introduced as someone who, like, you're kind of supposed to be intimidated by, but, like, it wasn't until the Phantom Troop and Uvogin specifically where I was like, holy shit, there's crazy people in this fucking story. Yeah,
bro, in that episode when he goes off against the
Shadow Beast,
the Shadow Beast, the Shadow Beast, yeah, that shit. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? He is fucking these dudes up. Yeah. Oh my god. And they're like top, like, bodyguard and then using motherfuckers for, like, the mob or whatever.
The 10 Dons.
So it's like they shouldn't be no bitches.
Right. They're not.
And they just got fucking washed. Dude.
Yeah.
And, like,
Well, and they got washed from the neck up, basically, because fucking Wolf gets to hit him with the tranquilizer, and he's paralyzed from the fucking neck down.
Yeah.
And
actually, well, before that, Worm comes in and gets evaporated.
Worm fucked up so hard. He overestimated his ability just so much. Like how he's like, I'm gonna grab you and I'm gonna jump in this hole. And he's like, now you're trapped. What are you gonna do? You're gonna go underground, or are you about to get wrecked by these three? And he's like, I'm trapped.
I'm gonna detonate this nuclear bomb I have in my fist.
It's like, what? How could I be trapped? Like, what are you? Wow. And that's
big.
I was surprised. Impact. I was surprised that. Well, and what's really tight about that animation too, it's like you get to see like all the energy like around Uvogin, because it's, even though it's like a, you know, energy blast at the end of the fist kind of thing, it pretty much like encompasses his, you know, everywhere around him. And he's like floating in the air, and he's still got fucking Worm's arm stuck to his arm, you know, like this, and he's floating away. And somehow Worm didn't get like actually evaporated.
Yeah, he lived after that. He lived.
He was on. No, he dies, I think. Well, it's hard to say, but he like falls on the ground like, you better bring everyone and die. And that was that, you know. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, and then when Buddy got his fucking skull bit, or was that even one of the shadow beasts? Or was
that was that was Leech.
It was Leech.
Yeah.
When he got his skull bit, and then he fucking spat the fragment of the dude's skull at the other dude, and it was
he tried to block it, and it went through his hand and then through his forehead.
Like, bro.
Yeah, and he definitely used like code. He was like using code.
You could see, you could see that he applied like aura specifically to like block that. Yeah. And it still went through, and that was just such a good demonstration of like the enhancer class. Like they really wanted to show you that Uvogin was the poster child for the enhancer class of M.A.N.G.A. You know what I mean? And
dude was a fucking
I think they did a really good job of like showing you everything about that class in one character.
One of the funniest fucking little scenes in the anime too is like when before the Shadow Beasts even get there, all the like mob like fodder guys show up and they shoot guns at him, and you know, you were talking about it a little bit. But after like he jumps into the fray and he's just killing everybody, he's got like 3 of them hemmed up like a fucking nunchuck. This is fucking hilarious.
It's one of the funniest scenes. Yeah, and then meanwhile, they're all up on the side of the cliff playing bullshit or like go fish like card games and shit. You know what I mean? It was just like a wholly new dynamic to a villain group that I had never really seen before. Like usually I'm used to like every scene of villains being them talking about their dastardly plot, you know, or them, you know, growing their ranks, or them like committing like atrocities, like, you know, in like a densely populated area with a whole bunch of civilians, just doing dastardly shit. But like the Phantom Troop was the first time that I saw a villain group that you could just leave, like, even though like Uvogin was going crazy like down there, like they were just chilling, and they just chill like often. Like they still have those stereotypical scenes where they're talking about their next move, but you really get to see like other sides of them that you wouldn't think a villain or at least an antagonist would have. You know what I mean? And just like the relationship with Nobunaga and Uvogin. Yeah.
I felt for him, bro. I'm like, man.
When he's getting holes punched in his fucking chest. Kill me,
bro.
Kill me.
Yeah.
It's like that shit was wild. Like I was like, I wasn't ready for Hunter, and it was instantly just my favorite thing I ever seen. And thing about Hunter is like a lot of people from, you know, like the hood or whatever will ask me, you know, oh man, like anime is actually tight, you know, hey, all of a sudden 20 years later I want to fucking watch this shit, you know, like what am I supposed to watch? And it's like I've always told him Hunter, and then like, okay, that's the illest shit I ever seen in my life. What's next? And no matter what I give him next, they'll be like, man, it's all right, but like that last shit, you ain't got no more of those. It's like, no, those don't just grow on trees, bro.
You don't got no more of those.
You don't got no more of those guys, man.
It's fucking Dave Chappelle doing the crackhead Tyrone Big. You got any more of them hunters? You know, scratch it. It's like, no, there ain't no more of them.
I mean, once the Jujutsu Kaisen anime comes out, then you'll be able to get in that too. But
that shit gonna be seasonal though.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm happy. I hope so.
I'm happy about that. Yeah,
fuck it. Seasonal's the way. Seasonal's the way. It just is.
I think so too.
Yeah. What about you, Kiko? So who you got for favorite characters?
Oh, man, like instinctively, I want to say Knuckle.
Yeah.
Because
like, who's your like? Do you have a number one?
Is just so obsessed with Hakaware, man.
It's such a dude. It's
not only Hakaware.
Yeah.
It's Knuckles a man's man. Knuckles feeding the dogs in the park.
Yeah.
Knuckle is the G there is, and I don't care. You know what? He's gonna throw the plan to save his boy, and as mad as we were about it, like I respected him. You know, like, and I stayed like any move Knuckle makes, I respect it, no matter what it was, even if it was, you know, he fucked the planet. Yeah, he fucked the planet. He wasn't gonna let Morel die.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, no, but I was like, yeah,
I know. It's like. Like I was like, man, his hands are tied. What you want him to do? Let his man's die? You can't. You just you can't. You know, like, and
can't watch a man's die in front of you.
No, right in front of you too, like that. No, and
especially not a character like Knuckle.
And no, definitely not. And I just love like how he always kind of no. And I just love how I just talk shoot, like for shoot being scary and shit and timid all the time. Like, man, you better man the fuck up, like, man. And sometimes like he would just dismiss him too, like if like he's talking to like, you know, whoever he was talking, like, whatever, man. Like, he might help, whatever. I don't know, you know, but I'm with the shit. Let's go, you know, like, and I don't know, like that. But like that's just like my instinctive. I want to pick and Hakaware. I don't want to talk too much about Hakaware. We've done it before, but it's the epitome of Nen. It's Nen at its highest form.
It really is just the best example of like what Nen is and like how it works and like how far you can take it, you know what I mean, in regards to like conditions and strategy, really, you know what I mean. So
yeah, it just encompasses Hunter as a whole, that his ability, his character, his story, like everything that he goes through in the, you know, obviously he doesn't get a lot of screen time. I mean, he gets enough, obviously. I mean, he's, you know, one of the main characters for the what people rate the greatest arc in anime manga history. A lot of people rate Chimera and arc up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I man, it's so hard, but it's like I want to pick somebody else. Like I want to pick like Zeno or Silva. I can't even choose out of them two, right? Because they're both hard body and they're both so tight.
Zeno's one of my favorite characters too, man. The Fu Manchu is so strong.
The Fu Manchu, just he's like a Chinese, you know, character in a Japanese story, and it's crazy. I don't know if anybody out there has ever noticed it, but like if you listen to like his voice actor, he's like speaking Japanese with like a Chinese accent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and he's got like Chinese names for his abilities, you know what I mean? Like it's Dragon Head and like Dragon Lance and like Dragon Dive, but then like, and that's another really cool thing, you know, that Togashi did in the story is like he would give you like the Hatsu, he would give you the names of the Nen abilities, but then there would always be like in parentheses another name for it. You know what I mean? Like with Bungee Gum, it was Elastic Love, you know, was like in parentheses, and then Texture Surprise had like a secondary name, something Lies. I don't remember the name, you know, of it, but it was something, and then like the word Lies, you know what I mean? And it was just like a descriptor. It was like an adjective or something, and then like some kind of descriptory like second name for the shit. Finks has Ripper Cyclotron, but then like in parentheses it's called Karmic Loop. You know what I mean? And then
Karmic Loop is such a tight name.
Yes.
For that ability.
Yes, fam. And then like
Finks is another one of my favorite characters, man.
And then with Zeno, like he's like a Chinese character, and like he has Dragon Head, Dragon Lance, and Dragon Dive. But then like when he's first fighting Krollo in the Yorkshin City arc, he goes into the Dragon Head, and then in parentheses it's like Ling Xiao Tua Fusha, you know, type, you know, like words and shit like under it, and it's like, but it was just one thing that I didn't notice until like probably my 4th or 5th time like going through the series, that like he's speaking Japanese with a Chinese accent. That's fucking cool as shit.
I remember when you told me that blew my mind. I wasn't ready for that, because it was obviously he was based, you know, on a Chinese character, and it's like you don't really think of that, you don't speak the language, you know, so it's like when I'm, you know, hearing it, you know, like I can.
Yeah. But then when you went back and listened to it, you were like, yo.
It's definitely different. It's definitely different.
Because like Japanese like dialect is like very strict, like hard ending syllables, you know, bink, 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 bink. But then when he's speaking, it's like a fluid, like flowing, like, whoosh, whoosh, you know, like shit like that. Like go listen, like if you guys, viewers, go look up or just rewatch the series, or go look at a fucking Zeno scene, like, and listen to the way he talks, you'll notice it.
Yeah, I wish that kind of thing was just explained and highlighted more. You know, like sure, some people might call that trivial, but it's like I love to see that kind of shit. You know, like I just personally am interested in any nuance that they throw in the show or manga or whatever. Like I want to try to know the Japanese jokes. Like I as good as I can to immerse myself in their culture and get the full experience, not the watered down experience. You know, like But yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick. Like, if I got to pick a troop member, a lot of our fucking, good cosplay friends tell me to cosplay Nobunaga all the time because I got a big ass nose.
You do look like Nobunaga, like low key.
And I'm the tallest in the group usually. You know, like it's just I'm bald. I'm gonna have to get a big ass fucking wig with the. You know, but that's I know that's too much. I'm never gonna
envisioning it.
I know. Hey, if I did it, I'd kill the game. But like, I can't. It's just a lot of work. Cosplay. Ugh, it's so much. If somebody don't like make all that shit and just give it to me, it's probably not happening.
Wow.
Yeah, Nobunaga is a good pick too.
You got the sword. All you got to do is get a bathrobe, a wig.
A bathrobe. I got my wife's bathrobe. I'll wear a pink joint. Let's go. Like.
Kawaii Nobunaga.
That's fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. For me, I would probably say my favorite character is Kurapika in the series, and the reason why
the real main character.
Yeah, and I just felt like, and I mean, like when I was first going through the series, I was like Killua all day, and no one's gonna replace him. You know what I mean? Like because he was just like meant to just be that motherfucker, you know what I mean? Like that guy.
Definitely the tightest. Yeah. He's definitely got the best aura, the best.
Yeah. The best attitude, the best story, like a who doesn't love a prodigious, from a family of assassins, like that dynamic is so sick.
Lightning boy.
And even before you go, and even before you go into Kurapika, with all that said about Killua, it's always still been Gon for me because Gon is that much of a rider. But
I don't know.
Go ahead.
Like Killua 2, I can talk about Killua 2 for a second because it really is like alternating for me, like between those two characters, and it's so cool seeing Killua like. In the beginning of the series and how he's introduced as like, his attitude is very childlike, but then like when he gets serious, it's like night and day difference in his personality, but like it doesn't feel awkward. Like it doesn't feel awkward. Like, okay, I just need a different personality here just because this guy's got, a sociopath with like two personalities inside of him. Like you could tell that that's who he is, but then who he is as a kid is also who he is, you know what I mean? And it's just great how Togashi like wrote that personality that I had never really seen done that well before, and when you start seeing his assassination techniques, like when he augments his hands, when he rips out Johannes's heart and he explains it to Gon, like that's something I learned, when I was becoming an assassin. And then you see the rhythm echo when they're trying to get the ball from Netero, in the Hunter exam arc, and he does like the fucking after image step, and I'm just like, okay, and this is all before he even gets Nen, and then he gets Nen. And, and it's electricity, and you're like, okay, so they just gave him electricity powers, and it's like, no, I've been zapped my whole life because I'm an assassin. I've been poisoned my whole life. Like, I need resistances to these things that people could use to torture me to get information about my family, and it just like, it was just so well done. So, but on the Kurapika side of things, like, I just always love a revenge story. And I love how Kurapika's, personality is very impartial, very logic based, very like everything comes down
until it's not anymore.
Yeah, until the
spiders are involved.
Yeah, exactly. And like when he's fighting Majitani in the trick tower in the Hunter exam, and you really see him activate for the first time. You know what I'm saying? And this is what really goated him for me is Majitani's like, all right, I got all these body augmentations, like I'm swole. I got, I look scary. I got this metal plate in my wrist, and I got this bullshit ass spider tattoo. Ain't nobody fucking with me, and that was just like his strategy. And like Kurapika, you're like, what is he really gonna do? And then he makes him, and then Majitani's like, wait. No weapons. You're a little bit too confident, so no weapons. And he pulls his double like kendo swords out of his waistband and like throws them. I'm like, no, because when I'm first going through it, I'm like, whatever. He's gonna smoke him with the swords. You know what I'm saying? And then he just casually like throws the swords. I'm like, now what is he gonna do? And then and then Majitani's like, wait a minute, he obviously doesn't rely on those because of how quick he threw him away. That, I don't know what to, whatever, I'm just gonna show him the spider tattoo, and then he's like, grabs him by the face, picks him up, and then downward punches him like into the ground, and he bounces up like 4 times and then like rolls to the side of the tournament space, and you're like, and then he's like, check it out, bro. The spiders don't bother counting who they've killed, so like you having a number of like your kill count like on the back of you with your fucking like Link, like Zelda like lives on
yeah, it was all the hearts.
All the hearts on his shit. He's like, check it out, bro, you're lying, and like I'm a motherfucker that really knows what's up with the Phantom Troop. If you ever bring him up again, I'll kill you. And I'm just like, oh my god. And it's like that was kind of like a moment for like everyone to surprise you with their character, right? You know, because Gon, you think is just like this dumb, you know, nature boy, and then when he's going up against the dude with the candles, you see, you know, Gon's potential to like learn on the fly while fighting, you know, and adapt to any situation. So you're surprised by Gon there, and of course you're surprised by Killua when he rips that motherfucker's heart out. And then Leorio, just that's still a funny scene, and that's still like a great scene, and it's goated for Leorio, like in regards to comedy. But I was really thinking that Leorio was gonna do some super tight shit there, you know. But then he comes back and does some tight shit after Kurapika's round, and with like the whole like betting during his round when he's betting, you know, on whether or not Majitani is still unconscious or not. You know what I mean? That whole situation was really cool for Leorio too.
That was really fun.
Yeah, that was like his moment. Even though he didn't win his round, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah,
and Buddy was pretending to be unconscious, bro. That shit was fucking
He's about to get dropped off the side.
Fucking funny.
And he does drop him for a second, and then like gravity like stops being a thing for a second, and he's like flailing like a Looney Tunes cartoon, where he's like, where he's just like floating over the pit. Yeah, and then he like comes back to the shit. Yeah. But
that's hilarious.
But yeah, man, Kurapika for sure. And like, especially like once you start like really getting into his character in the Phantom Troop arc, like when you see his plan to like beat Uvo, and you get his reasoning behind like why, you know, he wanted to fight Uvo first, because he's like, well, you're the strongest physically, you know, in the Phantom Troop. So I wanted to test my chain jail on you because it forces you into Zetsu, you know, and if the strongest member of the Phantom Troop physically can't break out of these chains without aura, then I can hem any of the other Phantom Troop members up, and they'll have no chance. Like I can, like, this confirms my idea, and you're just like, holy shit, this motherfucker is so calculated, you know. And then obviously he starts questioning him, like, how could you kill so many people? Like starts punching them with like the fists, you know, like back to back, and then obviously Uvo was just like, kill me, and then he finally kills him, and you feel for Kurapika. You're like, yes, but at the same time you're like, no, Uvo, because I love his character too. But then, like, you're happy for Kurapika for getting some revenge, and then, like, it's crazy when he's, like, burying him. Like, you think that he would be, like, hype and excited, but, like, you could just see that he looks sick. Like, that he just killed somebody. You know what I mean? Like, he looks like he's questioning, like, is this revenge shit, like, really, like, what I want to fucking do, like, with my life? You know what I mean? And that was just, like, such a huge character moment for him, you know, that you don't really see in the manga. You know, like in the manga, you get like the panel, like Uvo dies up here, and then a little bit of time goes by, and then like in a panel you see him with the shovel, then he's buried, and then that's it. But like in the 2011 adaptation, and I can't remember how the 99 version handles it, but like you can just see him regretting what he just did almost. You know what I mean? And that's such a powerful scene for his character to me. So yeah, Kurapika, man.
Buddy brought a shovel to the battle. He knew he was burying his ass.
Yeah.
I see that meme often.
The goat. The goat.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And fucking Majitani with his hearts is like the equivalent to the teardrops. And, you know, it's like...
Yeah.
I was like, this fucking... You know, he's faking this shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are some good picks.
Hell yeah. I mean, you guys want to like have a conversation about like what we like the most about like all of the arcs, like what our favorite moments throughout some of these arcs are. Kind of starting with the Hunter exam. I know we've kind of been like all over the place with like when we're talking about characters, we obviously have to talk about them in like all of these arcs. But like as far as like the themes of like the arcs and whatnot, like what your favorite takeaways from each story was. So I feel like that would be a cool conversation to have too.
Yeah. I'm down.
Who wants to start it off?
Well, I mean, you said we're going to talk about you want to talk about them kind of in chronological order, right? And we're going to talk about Hunter exam first.
Yeah,
you know?
I feel like that would be a good place to start because that's personally, I feel like my favorite arc in the entire series. Like, and it's changed back and forth, you know, throughout my time, like going through it as many times as I have, and just like my time as a fan. You know, it's Chimera Antar, Yorkshin, Greed Island. Rescue Killua even has been one of my favorite arc, you know, my favorite arc at one point in time, you know, but I feel like the most consistently I'm always coming back to the Hunter exam, you know, as my favorite personally. So I feel like that would be a good place to start.
Yeah. I don't know, like if I were to talk about favorite moments on that arc, I would probably just skip to the tournament pretty much.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just the fact that the Gohan, Jesus Christ, Gon versus Hanzo. I put their names together to come out with Gohan. Gohanzo. Gon versus Hanzo is such a good fight because obviously Gon stands no chance. But it's not just, you know, like there's a lot of other like moving parts in that fight. Obviously, you know, Gon's not going to surrender. Hanzo's not going to kill him. Hanzo is trying to fucking make him surrender and you know breaks his arm and shit.
And just that scene was handled so cool when he's sitting there and he's like, "Look, bro, just give up, dude." And Gon's like, "No," and he's like, "I'm gonna break your arm." And Gon's like, "No." And he snaps it, like he's just talking to him casually, like as it, like I don't know if I could just be casually talking to someone like, "Yo, I'm gonna break your arm, bro," and then just snap it,
snap their shit, like
That's when you got that. Yeah, that's when you got that. You got that experience under your belt. You ain't worried about breaking no damn arm, like that ain't nothing. And I mean, you just can clearly see, even though Gon is a prodigious talent that we know is our MC and is gonna, you know, take this shit eventually, where we're at right now, we have far more experienced players, and it's great to see that they were all in the Hunter exam too. Like, so these guys, for whatever reason, like Hisoka got disqualified the year before because he killed one of the proctors, you know, so like that made sense. Even still, like you'd feel like Hisoka would have had his Hunter license, but with the story, you don't need to have your Hunter license. All that does is just give you more privilege, really, and you know,
and money.
access, money and shit. So it's like if you don't give a fuck about that,
lines.
Access to the internet. No, you don't even need that to get to that Hunter website. I don't think the dark web, dark Hunter web. But maybe you do.
I can't remember.
But I mean, like, think of somebody like, you know, or just think of like Phantom Troop. Obviously, Hisoka has his fucking Hunter's license because he got it in that arc. But the other ones, maybe they don't. But you can just kill somebody and take their Hunter license, and it's worth so much money. You can sell their Hunter license, or and use it, or
rinse, repeat, just hunt hunters.
Oh
or just
slaying them,
or use it for the internet or whatever else. You can just basically, like, if you kill somebody and take it, you basically pass the Hunter exam. You know? Like,
for real though.
So that was always a cool dynamic, but there's that, and then fucking man, I don't know. You probably would bring it up, but maybe I should leave it to you. But
sure, if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. If you don't bring it up, I'll do it again.
I think my favorite thing about the Hunter exam arc itself, besides just like setting the tone for the series and like letting us know what kind of world we're going to be in, which is massive for especially a story like Hunter x Hunter, where you don't think it's going to be that kind of world, or you don't think it's going to be the world that it actually is. It does a really good job of foreshadowing, you know, how dark the series is eventually going to get, and just like establishing that it is a very logic and reason based world. Because I think my favorite thing about this series is that like there's really no idiots in the story. You know what I mean? Like even there's fodder and there's bitches. Like look at Tompa. You know what I mean? Number one bitch, but he's still not really dumb. Like his dialogue is like there's like everybody's intelligent.
He does his he's done some real shit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like everybody is either like really clever or just really smart, you know, even if they get washed instantly, like they still know what they're talking about and understand how the world works, you know what I mean? So I think that's one of my favorite things about it, that you really get an idea for in the Hunter exam. But my favorite moment is when Netero is interviewing everybody before the last tournament, and he interviews Hisoka, and he's like, who would you rather fight the most? Who do you not want to fight, right now, and things like that. And he's like, okay, well, I don't really want to fight Gon because he's not ready. I'd probably fight Killua if I had the chance, because he looks like he's already like kind of ruthless, and that would be kind of fun. But like right now at this moment, I want to kill you. And Netero's like, oh, word? All right, cool. Next, and just kind of brushes him off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he like sends his like malice at him, like Hisoka is like, I want to kill you, old man. And then he just kind of like brushes him off. And then Hisoka like has a comment to himself like, that's the first time someone has just completely flinched off my malice like that. You know what I mean? Like my bloodlust like that, And even M.A.N.G.A in the gourmet exam.
Yes, that was super tight.
Yeah, like when she's standing there and she's like kind of being a bitch to everybody and failing everyone, and Buahara is like, or I think it was Satotes that said it too, and he was like, don't you think you're kind of being a little bit too harsh on these kids? And she's like, I'm sorry about that, but there was one of the entrants, like kept shooting his bloodlust at me, and it made me want to go rip him to shreds, you know what I mean? So I was kind of on edge because this dude clearly wants to fight me so bad, you know what I mean? And it was Hisoka like in the background, like, yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, but then like, and then for Netero to just like not care, that's when I was like, okay, this motherfucker is different, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Netero's, and he was.
Yeah,
he showed it.
Mm-hmm.
He turned out to be.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Eagle? What's your favorite moment in the Hunter exam?
In the Hunter exam, I think it's got to be like the whole thing with that bee chick on the
Ponzu inside of the cave with the snake charmer.
Yeah,
snake charmer. Yeah,
man, and there she like, oh, what the hell was it? Where the snake dude is in there, dead.
Yeah, and they don't know it.
His fucking thing is still active.
Yeah,
and they're like trying to get in there and then they get trapped in there with the fucking snakes. Man. That was a good little twist. I like that part.
And then Gon goes in and was just like, fuck it, he's got to have an antidote on him, and he goes and gets bit by all the snakes. Like that was like the first like really big character moment for Gon, I think, for me. Yeah, that showed
like other threats, like that's what I love about animes that are really immersive, like Hunter, where you see there's PvE, like there's it's not just PvP the whole time. There's PvE, there's shit out in the world, and that was super tight to have. Like, and Toriko basically took the Hunter exam and made a whole goddamn series off it. Like,
just the gourmet Hunter like role job in Hunter is just like an entire world. Yeah, and it's like, you get to see these, animals and all these different, like when they're running through that fucking swamp that's the mist and you can't see, and there was like the fucking monster shit that came up out of the ground basically to eat them, and I don't know. I just like to see that kind of shit, especially early in anime, because obviously like late game that shit ain't fucking with them. Yeah.
But without being, this isn't going to be really spoilery, but it is going to talk about it later, past 2011, really, kind of, where it's crazy that we go from PvE to like PvP for a long time. It's only about, Hunter versus Hunter for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And then you get introduced to the Dark Continent, where it's like, okay, we're back to PvE again.
Yeah. Wow. Into the nth degree,
Into the biggest degree. Yeah. And so it lays the groundwork so well to say, okay, the world we live in right now, there's a lot of fucking, treachery that's outside of just the hunters, which is good. We're going to outgrow that, but then the world opens even more. And then now, shit, I don't know if hunters are even the biggest threat. It might be just these random ass fucking, whatever you call it, curses, calamities. It was calamities.
Calamities, yeah.
So,
hell yeah.
So yeah, it was. I love the arc. It warms you up, but then it's misdirection. Then that's perfect for the first arc, because Hunter is all about misdirection.
Yes,
get you feeling like this is this heartwarming shonen story,
and then boom, someone gets their head fucking cut off in the next episode right when you think it's sweet. And another thing before we like
plucked.
Yeah, before we come out of the Hunter exam, the last thing I want to say is that like you see a lot of really cool ideas that you could tell that Togashi like wanted to show you that he had, you know, in the beginning of the series. Like for example, like the wildlife that like some of the wildlife that you saw, you know, in the beginning of the series, like the hemotropic butterflies, you know, that when he was hunting Hisoka on Zeble Island, and the butterflies kept like swarming around his bloody hands from him, you know, using doing the fishing pole, you know, practice over and over again, and his hands started bleeding, and then these butterflies start flying around his hands, and they're attracted to like hemoglobin or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like, oh, okay, I remember that Hisoka got, you know, fucked up a little bit in the trick tower, so I'm gonna tie these butterflies to my pinky, and then they're gonna lead me to, you know, to Hisoka eventually. And it's like they're bringing him to like a dead like weasel carcass here, and then, you know, like, you know, or whatever, a dead fish there, something like that, and then eventually he finds Hisoka, and I was just like, that is so fucking cool, you know, like that's just such a good idea.
It's wild, and such a good warm up to just show like the tracking ability, and then that Gon was like passively using Zetsu before, you know, Zetsu is a thing, you know, before we even know anything about Nen.
Yeah.
Gon was totally using Zetsu, which he may have been able to even use before he was tracking Hisoka. It's hard to say, but you know, he's a mountain kid, a hunter kid, I run in the fucking wilderness, so you know his ass was sneaking up on wildlife and catching that shit and eating it or whatever all the damn time.
Right.
So like he just had like a innate, you know, skill for Zetsu, which that's so like Hunter is so good at like
he was strong
foreshadowing and callbacks, and that's why I suggest to people all the time, like, Hunter really is a series that you have to go through twice, because when you're going through it the first time, I'm not going to say that people aren't smart enough to notice everything, you know, on their first go through, but like there's just so much that you miss because you're going into the series with like expectations and your experience from past stories, and you really don't understand how different of a story Hunter is, you know, your first time going through it. So you kind of like can't see the forest, you know, for the trees, you know what I mean? And that's why I say like go through, you know, Hunter the first time, but then it's honestly better the second time you go through it, because when you'll have a newfound appreciation for it when you go through it knowing everything that happens, right? Because like there's just so much that you miss, and like when you don't have that mystery, you know, and wonder of what will happen next, you can really see the series for what it is. You know what I mean? And you start noticing the callbacks, and you start seeing all of the foreshadowing that he had. I think there was, like, I've seen Hunter probably all the way through over 7 to 10 times. It's hard to, like, keep track, but I mean, like, and I'm still learning things every time I go through it again. You know, like, I just noticed, like, on my last go-through of it, I think I just noticed that in the Yorkshin City auction arc, there's, like, in one of the booths where motherfuckers are selling shit, there's little Yu Yu Hakusho plushies. You know what I mean? There's like a Hiei, you know, and Botan like plushie just like hanging from a dude's booth. You know what I mean? It's little shit like that.
Neon has Pooh on her cell phone.
Yes.
She has all those little fucking, you know, icons.
Yeah, it's shit like that. And then like you start noticing like other crazy intense foreshadowing, like Netero, you know, when he was doing the ball, when he was playing the ball game with Gon and Killua, he wasn't using his right arm and left leg. What does he lose when he fights the king in the Chimera Ant Saga? His right arm and left leg. Like, it's little like shit like that like it might be hard to notice your first time going through it. Like one of the last times that I went through it,
I thought it was his right leg.
Yeah, whatever. You know, it's one of his arms and one of his legs.
But
it is like the exact same arms and legs he doesn't use in the ball game are the ones that the king takes from him when he's fighting him in the Chimera Ant Saga. Like, it's crazy. Like that kind of shit, you know. And then like one of the last times that I was going through it, I noticed that like in the side of the Zoldyck family, all of the white-haired Zoldycks are transmuters, and all of the black-haired Zoldycks are manipulators. You know what I mean? It's like that's done on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
definitely.
You know, it's shit like that is like really the reason why I'm like, man, at least watch it 2 times. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
there's no way that you could understand Nen by just watching the anime once. You can't fully understand Nen even if you watch the anime 3-4 times. I don't think. I think you legitimately got to read the wiki and like really want to understand the ins and outs of it. And once you like really do, and you watch the series again with like a full comprehension of everything that's being talked about, it's, I don't know, like you just get
completely
like this
different experience.
Yeah, you get this newfound appreciation for it. It's like I held it in like the highest regard already, and it's like after I like really figured out everything about Nen and just, you know, had it down pretty much, like what's you know, all these advanced techniques and then the basic like 4 principles and like how all that shit's used together. And that's not even your Hatsu. And it's like and it's like you, once you know all that shit, like the story flows differently almost, and it's so masterfully written where you get just enough here and there, you know, and I just think like what you get at the time you get it was perfect, you know, for any time.
For a first go through. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm saying for the entire story, regardless, no matter how many times you go through it, like you will, I don't know, like, you'll feel like once you know everything that's happened and what can happen and all the rules and everything, like when you see things make so much sense, you know, like, so you start to get Nen in Heaven's Arena, of course. You get the 4 principles, and you get, you know, Hisoka's Hatsu, and that's it. Oh, you get a couple other people's Hatsus, I guess. Yeah. But you don't really know enough yet, and you start learning, you know, more throughout Yorkshire, and then you really learn like all the rest of the shit in Greed Island, even though all these things were being used the whole time. Just it makes so much sense that those are explained when they are, and you can go back and be like, oh, this was used at this point, even though it wasn't explained at this time, and it'll always make sense. It'll always, like, you know, the dots will always connect.
Right. And it's just so crazy seeing so much forethought and so much precision in the storytelling of, you know, it's like as grandiose as like One Piece with like a third of the chapters, you know what I mean? And it's just so crazy how much he can fit into such a small scope without it feeling cluttered. You know what I mean? And because he does such a good job of giving you that like base idea of the story going through it, while like keeping all of these other things on the outside of like everything you're meant to see, everything that's important is right here. And then there's all of these little shit that makes it that much better that you can notice if you want to go through it again. You know what I mean? They're wildly important to the story once you know it, but it's not detrimental that you don't catch those things your first time going through it.
Yeah,
you know
not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
And that's just one of the best things about the series to me too.
Yeah, it feels
you gotta get off his ass though and start.
I swear to God, bro. And and like even like inside of like the tropey things that he does, like the dynamic between like Gon and Killua's rivalry is also like something that I wanted to highlight in regard to the storytelling, because it's not like a tried and true rivalry because they don't share like a common goal that they're competing with each other with. You really only see a physical rivalry in the form of their training, you know, with Nen, with like Wing and Bisky. But like you also like see a lot of rivalry like in their outlooks clashing, right? Because Killua was always bringing like a hitman,
always, you know, checking God.
Yeah, he's always bringing like a hitman like style logic to like these situations that they're in. You know, and Gon actually has to check him a lot of the times, like, hey, emotions matter in these situations, even though you're being like really cold and brooding and like calculating, like feelings, you know, and emotions and like kind of like gut instincts, like kind of, you know, make a little bit more sense in a lot of these situations. And that dichotomy, you know, like really drives a lot of the more important scenes. You know what I mean? Like when they're talking about their plan to, you know, in the Chimera Ant, you know, saga, and Killua was talking about how like we don't know their abilities, so we kind of got to chill. And Gon's like, they don't know our abilities either. And Killua was like, yeah, but I mean, like now that, you know, like why would we fight someone, you know, if we only have a chance of winning like, you know, 3 times out of 10, you know? And he's bringing all of these numbers and fractions and like, you know, math to the situation, and Gon's just kind of like, why don't we just see what happens? You know what I mean? Like it's, you know, like it's
life or death, motherfucker.
Yeah, and it makes sense on Killua's side, but then when it's actually in application, you see that Gon was right the whole time, and Moral, you know, kind of like reinforces it when he's like, it's a Nen fight. Like after Kite goes down, and then Netero, you know, brings in Nove and Moral, Killua was like, you'll never be able to beat that thing that I saw. You guys are strong as shit, but like, you guys have no chance, not even you, like Netero. And Moral's like clowning him, like, you hear what this motherfucker saying? Like, it's a Nen fight, bro. Like, there's so much more involved in a Nen fight than just like the opposing auras. You know what I mean? Like you have no idea what you're talking about, bro. Go back to kindergarten or whatever he says, and Nove kind of has to be like, yo, chill, bro.
He does. Yeah, because they just got beat. They're all fucking like distraught and fucked up, like depressed and shit. And Moral is like, nope.
Yeah, and he was, and Killua was still right though. Like none of them were really strong enough, you know, to deal with any of the ants from like an aura versus aura perspective.
Yeah,
but Moral was still like, but we can craft a plan, bro. You know what I mean? Like it's about strategy, and no matter how overwhelming the strength of the enemy is, like you can probably find out a way to deal with it. You know, and that's why Moral's another one of my favorite characters too, man.
Yeah,
Deep Purple.
Moral is MVP.
Yeah, for sure. And like just other things about Nen that are just like so cool, like little things that like Togashi like put in that you could tell had a lot of thought in, you know, involved, but that weren't wildly important to the story. Like the concept of like Nen geniuses, you know what I mean? That isn't really touched on like entirely. Like you have like just like characters that like naturally found Nen on their own and like use it like unconsciously like to a really high like level, but like not in a combative way. You know what I mean? Like Neon is an example. Komugi, you know, is an example. Zepile is a Nen genius where he can just he can just notice, you know, things about auction items that are like hidden or like, you know, like someone tried to like hide their Nen in it to like, you know, and then
he can see aura in fucking inanimate objects. That's I didn't even think of that, but that's
Zepile's a Nen genius. There's a couple other ones that like are only mentioned like one time, which is like another reason why, you know, like it's a good reason to go through it multiple times, because even in the Yorkshire auction arc, I can remember them talking about a special lithographer that like when they were looking at like I have the name. Makutolini is the name. Makutolini they said it like there was one conversation that they had about it when Zepile was talking about this is like the first conversation about Nen geniuses you get, and he's like, Makutolini was a special, you know, lithographer that didn't even know he was using Nen, but like was unconsciously using it to make his art more appealing. You know what I mean? Like
I
you know,
remember.
Yeah, and then you have there's one Benny Dellen is the famous like assassin or something, I think is what he is, when Zeno and Silva are fighting Crollo, and you know
the Ben's knife.
Crollo pulls out the Ben's knife, and like Benny Dellen is the motherfucker who makes the Ben's knives. You know what I mean? And he like makes them in like a certain way, like when he's crafting them, he's unconsciously using Nen to just make the tightest knives in the story. You know what I mean? It's shit like that too, but yeah, man, fucking
that is crazy.
Yeah, maybe we want to go back and talk about the next arc here.
Yeah, we can just do Phantom Troop, Greed Island, and then finish it off with Chimera Ant. What are your favorite moments in the Phantom Troop arc?
The Uvogin shit.
Yeah,
you know, we already talked about it a lot.
Yeah,
pretty much at length.
I just
fucking love Uvogin.
Yeah,
he's my guy. I love enhancers.
Yeah,
just straight at your face. I'm gonna fucking wreck your asshole and fucking drink wine out of your skull. Uvogin.
Yeah,
that's my guy.
Yeah,
that's good to talk about, because Uvogin, I think he serves like multiple purposes, like not only just for like the plot of the story, but like and I think you touched on a little bit, just Nen. So you get the explanation, like Kurapika's talking about how, okay, I fought you first because it was clear that the Phantom Troop lets you fight alone, so I could take I could take you away, and they would, you know, they might look for you, but they're not like worried about you being alone, right? Like they're gonna let you do your thing.
Let you be gone for like a day before they start going, okay, where the fuck's this man at? Like, he should have been done wrecked these motherfuckers and came back by now.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, he wanted to test chain jail. We already talked about that, how if the strongest one physically can't break out of chain jail in Zetsu, then none of them
all
can.
Fucked. Yeah.
And so there's that, where it's advancing like the plot of the story. You know, obviously he's getting revenge on a spider, but it shows like how it gives you top tier physical fucking, you know, the top tier enhancer fucking fight, but it shows you how other types basically, I mean, you, as long as you don't take no hits like head on, you can probably beat enhancers, as long as, you know, it doesn't come down to just strict offense and defense.
You know how to fight them.
Yeah. So it gives you a lot to think about as far as the story goes. Busts wide open the strategy aspect of things. So yeah, I mean, it's cool that it just kind of serves like multiple purposes to show the top tier time, high despair in the story, and all of that. And it's, I mean, if you got to Uvo again and Hunter and you didn't keep watching, then you should just quit. What the
hell's wrong with you?
You should just quit anime. Period. You should quit. You should quit watching. You should quit watching TV. You may as well become Amish.
Anime.
I feel like a lot of it like comes down to like people's expectations of like anime, like going into it, right? Like you expect like there to be like this grandiose like conflict where the villains are introduced. You learn everything about them, and then they're all defeated in these crazy epic battles by the end of the arc. And in the Phantom Troop, like in the Yorkshire auction arc, it's handled like it's basically Togashi saying, "Fuck those tropes, bro. This is the story I'm telling," and I bet you it's going to be way better than anything that you've seen yet, because there's a level of ambiguity that still remains in these characters even after their arc is over. You know what I mean? So now you're like, bring them back. You're like, give them back to me. You know what I mean? Like, we still don't know Nobunaga's Hatsu. I mean, we can assume what it is, but the big bad wasn't really taken down at the end. You know what I mean? And a lot of people might complain about that, but I think that that's fucking brilliant.
No, that was perfect.
Yeah, like
Crollo got his Nen erased, and then you had to go to Greed Island to get it back.
Probably my favorite moment in the Yorkshire auction arc is when Gon and Killua were trailing Nobunaga and Machi. Yeah. And Killua was like, you could tell that he's just stressed, like, is this a good idea? No, it's fine. Because if they noticed us, they would have let us know by now in some kind of way. And he's having like this back and forth in his mind, and Gon's just along for the ride because he doesn't understand assassination tracking yet. It's not the same as Zevel Island. Like these are real. Like, we can't let these motherfuckers know. Yeah.
When they're sitting at the table, Leorio's there too, and they're talking about it, and they're like, this is like really a big deal. And Killua's like, okay, how about you just imagine two Hisokas are sitting there and see how that works. And they both you see like, the Chibi Hisokas sitting there, and they both are like, oh yeah, no, we can't fuck with that. No, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal.
And like, there's just, I feel like the biggest moment of tension in the series for me, besides Nove going to go place the portals in the Chimera Ant saga, is this scene. Yeah, that was the butt clenchiest moment by far. But like,
big butt clench.
Super duper. But I mean, like, besides that, it's this. You know what I mean? And like, they're going and they're sitting there, and you think it's cool. And then Nobunaga gets the phone call, and Killua was like, "Who the fuck? Who's on the phone with?" And then you can't hear anything that he's saying. It's like silent, and you got that like ominous like music, that that OST starts to hit, and you're like, something's gonna happen, but what? And then Nobunaga just goes and looks right at him, and their eyes like get wide as shit, and they're like, shit, and they like go to like try to run, and they open the door, and Finks and Pakunoda and Machi are right there, and you're like, oh no. And then you look over at the window, and Nobunaga's like on the windowsill, and he's like, yo, that was like, we're on the 3rd floor, and you're like, oh my god. And then Killua just starts doing like his like bouncing like back and forth like after him and shit, and tries to get past Finks, and Finks grabs him by the ankles, and you're like, he got Killua. And then Killua digs his hands into the ground and like tries to like break dance out of his arms, and he gets his legs out, but Finks rips his fucking like ankle like skin off. You know what I mean? Like he's holding on so tight.
I love Finks' fucking like reaction to that too. He's just like, oh
yeah, he like whistles. He's like,
ooh,
I can't whistle, but yeah. He's like, holy shit, this kid is doing shit, and like, and it's just like such an intense scene, and then like they try to like leave again, and now all of a sudden Pakunoda's there with the pistol, and Machi's there with the strings, got like going like hemmed up. But that was just like, that scene just had me like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, I've never seen a scene like that. Like,
yeah.
But,
what I love about the arc, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, and then you had Nobunaga in the room with them, just like stanced up.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, if you come within 3 feet of me, I'll kill you.
Yeah. And he puts his N out
in there, dead ass for like. Yeah. But then they got away from him in like the lamest way possible. They just busted away through the wall.
Yeah, but that goes back to Zepile telling them about like, how to like fake your auction items.
What was that called? Spotting or something?
It was called It was called no, it's not called spotting. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but there is a term for it. But when he was talking about how like he's like they're looking at an auction item and it's like sealed entirely, but there's like, and so like you look at it, it's just like a gourd that's selling for like $50, but like you don't want to break the seal on it because then it's going to lose value. But inside of the gourd is like a special treasure that's worth like $100 million or some shit. But it's like, how would you know? Because it's like perfectly sealed and it looks like it's totally fine. But as his like his nen lets him know that it's been tampered with, and like someone broke on like both sides of it, you know, to like get into it to put this treasure in there and then resealed it. And like, and he thinks back to that concept with Zepile, and they both remember that Zepile conversation. They're like, do the thing, and then that's how they like kind of like break out. Yeah,
that's pretty good. And it was pretty tight. Just how Nobunaga was like, "Hey, I love you, kid. You're joining the squad. I don't give a fuck what you got to say about it. We're gonna wait for Crollo to get back. I'm gonna ask him like, hey, can my little man's join?" You know, and he obviously got
on his Uvogin withdrawals.
Yeah, exactly, because it's an enhancer who speaks his mind and is about to die for his pride and that kind of shit. And it's just such a good scene where fucking Nobunaga's fucking forcing Gon to arm wrestle with him, and he starts crying. And Gon later was like, he cried in front of me. Like, these aren't monsters. Like, he cared about his fucking people. And I mean that added such a level that you just didn't expect at the time, like you didn't expect the, Nobunaga to be so, hurt by the fact he lost his boy, even though they shit talked each other, but that's how it was, those two fought together back to back, and Nobunaga
they were actually with each other for a long time before the troop, right?
Are they not from Meteor City? I don't remember which ones are from Media City. I think Shalnark is, Machi is, fucking Benolanov
Binks is. Everybody that went. I think we can just assume that everybody that went in the Chimera Ant arc are definitely from Meteor City. I think Franklin might be too, even though he wasn't there.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I mean, like you have to assume that all of their original members are from Meteor City, and everybody that went in the Chimera Ant arc are too. So
yeah,
but other than that, I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, but that definitely added another level that you weren't expecting to, our villains at the time. But another thing that I really love, I love this in any anime, and I don't know if it's done, in any series as well as this, where there's two plot points in Yorkshin arc that converge the whole time. You got Kurapika getting revenge, joining the mafia, doing what he can to get closer and closer, get more information, get rank, get prestige, whatever, so he can get in the best position to get revenge.
Yeah.
And then you got fucking Gon and Killua learning, then need to get to Greed Island, got to get the fucking game and the memory card and all that bullshit, and the auction is the only place to get it.
Yeah.
And then they're converging into a point where then they get together, and it's super tight, like with Pakunoda's ability that she knows if you're lying to her. So like, yeah, she's asking, or ask Gon and Killua if they know the chain user, and they're like, no, we have no idea who it is. And that was true at the time because they did not know that Kurapika was the chain user. But Killua figures it out. Gon never does, but Killua's like, she can't touch me again and ask me the same question, because if she does, I'm pretty sure I'm going to say, like,
yeah,
it's going to know that it's Kurapika. So like, it was just so good to have like all these different characters, and then two major plot points that like converged, together, and it was just a great way that you can, go show what's happening with Kurapika and the mafia and like all this shit, and then break from that, go show what's happening with Gon and Killua, their developing. It's still like a development story for them.
Yeah.
But Kurapika's already there. Kurapika skips some steps or whatever, not really, but kind of, that's kind of how it feels like.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and that's another one of my favorite like nen abilities. One of my favorite Hatsus is Basho, the like dude, like the machismo like guy with like
the haiku.
Yeah, he has the haikus. Yeah, he has to like write the haiku and then like recite it and then like crush the paper, and then he gets like the ability that's like basically like the message of the haiku. That's fucking sick too. Yeah,
that is wild. That is
sick as fuck.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Some ruthless fucking moments. I already touched on a little bit. Indoor fish is the scariest shit I ever seen in my life.
Damn.
If you were stuck in a fucking big ass room with these giant ass fucking prehistoric flying no gravity fish that
are
just
just
eat you,
eating you and you can't feel it, but you know you're dying.
and you're not dead, you don't die, like your head's just chomped in half,
Yeah.
but your one eye can still see and you're still alive. It's like,
imagine that until the door opens and then you die. Yeah.
Yeah. And shit, man, we could talk about how just Zeno and Silva are, you know, tracking Crollo throughout, you know, that building. You know, and man,
the
that shit
dialogue
was
between
wild.
them was so tight. When, when he's like, "Oh, I'm using my N to just scan this floor."
Yeah,
but I could do the whole building if I wanted to.
Yeah,
that's something like 350 meters or something like that. Yeah,
you ain't stepping to the king yet.
Yeah, like
that I'll cover the whole goddamn building, but then I won't be able to fight because I'll be too tired after that.
Right, that shit is fucking. That shit is nuts. It's like, what was Zeno like as a 20-year-old? You know what I'm saying? Like, holy shit! And it was really cool to see because you know they're father and son. And then, like, this is when you first get, like, a real glimpse in, like, what being a Zoldyck assassin is like. Because even though father and son are going on this mission together, when they start fighting Crollo, Zeno is like, hey, be careful, Dad. Like, he can steal your techniques. And Zeno's like, all right, cool. I'm going to pin him in place. And when I do, kill him, even if it means you got to kill me, too. And then Zeno just, his expression doesn't change. He's like, all right, cool. Like, that's it, you know, like, and then and you're just like, all right, like, you know, like, that's what they're on, you know what I mean? Like, that's how much they care about this profession, and that's how, like, no, he doesn't at all.
No, he goes for it. It just doesn't happen. He gets out of it.
No. Were you talking about he hesitates before he responds to Zeno?
I think he's saying Silva.
He hesitates before he fires the attack.
He grabs him. Like Zeno finally like gets him with the dragon head, pins him against the wall, flies towards him, grabs his leg, starts socking him in the face, and then just says, "Now kill him." And then instantly it's with the fucking giant like Nen balls, and then he just like throws him. I don't remember. Maybe there's a hesitation in the '99 version, or maybe in the manga, but I don't really remember.
I don't remember it either. I'm pretty sure
he just goes straight. Yeah, he just goes straight for it. Like,
and then it's just like Rebel. You don't really get to see, right? Like how it doesn't connect, or
like it like he shoots it, and then it's like you can see the aura behind him, and like Zeno's like maniacally laughing while punching him while the fucking blast is like reaching him, and then you hear an explosion, but then it's like the scene is like zoomed out to like look at the whole building, and then you hear the explosion, and then the OST for the end of the episode starts. And then when it comes back, you find out that maybe at the last second, like I don't even remember how it worked, but like he found out that Illumi already killed all of the 10 Dons, and he called Zeno and was like, you don't have to kill this dude anymore because like
they're not paying.
Crollo paid me double to kill the 10 Dons, so your job is done. Yeah. So it's like how in between the energy like being shot towards them and it connecting that he got a phone call to know that he didn't need to kill him anymore. Like that's pretty crazy to think about.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
but but I guess their bodyguards were all dead already, right? I was gonna say that's crazy that they got ran through just so quick like that.
Which bodyguards are you talking about? Like the rest of the people that
bodyguards.
Yeah, that they hired that in that because Crollo just like literally just 1v1'd them all, kept like going
stabbing
through
him in the back of the head with fucking ballpoint pens. Yeah, and
I'm pretty sure it's Zeno that says it. Maybe it's Silva where he's like, "This guy's a pro. He's leaving just enough trace so we can follow him purposely. And we can follow if we want, but
if we're tight enough."
But this is intentional. He could definitely leave no trace if he wanted to. He's doing this on purpose. The Hunter's the tightest shit. They're just
it's so sick. It's like what kind of life has Togashi had, and like what kind of experiences has he had to like lead him to write a story like this? You know what I mean? Like this is like the most like thuggish, ruggish shit, like beneath the surface. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I mean, shit, it is his 3rd or 4th story, but yeah, man, I don't know. We can probably move into Greed Island too.
Yeah,
I'm ready. What's you guys' favorite moments from Greed Island?
I mean, I really love Greed Island a lot too. So I really can't pick a favorite arc, to be honest, because I like Greed Island just as much as any arc, and a lot of people, say it's not as good. And they're smoking all the crack because it's like they're wilding to me. Because
as a gamer, I love Greed Island.
Exactly. It's like if you ever played any video game.
And it's just crazy how Togashi wrote the best isekai and the best sports manga in one arc than most stories are in an entire story.
That's my favorite moment from Greed Island, actually, is that the damn dodgeball.
Me too,
bro.
Me too.
The dodgeball is just too fucking
Me too. That's
fire,
that's the tightest shit. That's one of the tightest scenes in the whole story to me. Yeah.
I love
when fucking Garenu or whatever the hell his name is, the dude with the damn apes,
the gorillas. Yeah,
he's going crazy. He's going crazy, like knocking people out. He's getting all cocky and shit, and he's like, "What's up, Razor? You a bitch?" And like throws the fucking dodgeball at him, and Razor's just like, boom, just catches it in one hand, and he's just like, "Oh, time for the counter attack," and just like.
Yeah.
And this dude's like, shit, dodge it, shit, catch it, I'll die. And like has to switch the fucking ape in his place, and it just gets annihilated.
But then there's another scene like after that where Garenu's like, all right, I'm not playing no more games, and he like throws it, and then like and then he throws it at like the weakest one of Razor's conjured guys, but then they all like he has one of his apes throw it. He's like, he combines his apes. That's right. He combines his white and his black ape so it has more strength, and he throws it. But then Razor like combines his guys and they catch it. And Garenu's like, oh, and then you just see the ball come out the side of the screen and push his fucking face in.
Yeah,
and he's out of there.
That shit.
How about fucking Killua has to hold the ball for going to punch it with Rock, and he's got big ass fucking purple hands, and he keeps putting them in his pocket and shit. So he's like, I can't let go know that my hands are done. Like I got one more shot in me, and like my
and then
hands
Sezagera's like, take your hands out of your pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like, it's just,
I got them purple joints. It's all good.
Yeah. And in the dodgeball game,
that shit's done.
In the dodgeball game again, when they had that like crazy tactic to like, I don't even know what it was, but it was just a crazy like volley like exchange like in the dodgeball game, and then like the one of Garenu's like puppets like teleports over Hisoka and catches the ball and like tries to point blank spike the ball in Hisoka's face, and Hisoka like uses bungee gum and like catches it at the last second, and he's like standing there and he's like, all right, I caught the ball, that's one of them out of here. But then his hand is like broken. So like 3 or 4 of his hands are broken. That shit is so fucking crazy. And when Razor like throws it,
that was one of the Razor clones that
one of the Razor clones. Yeah.
That's
what he meant.
What did I say, puppet?
Well, no, I just confused.
No, you said
Garenu apes.
Yeah, Garenu's clones.
One of Razor's puppets. What? Yeah. And then when Razor throws he throws it in like a bowling ball style way.
Yeah, the sidearm.
Yeah, and then it goes to like Killua and he dodges it, but then it like veers and like goes to Bisky and hits her dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Killua's like, if I dodged the other way, I'd be dead.
That was actually that's that same one where it veers off, it goes under Bisky, and then not Killua. Hisoka, Matrix is it real quick.
And then the dude teleports over, the puppet grabs it. Yeah.
And he has to bungee gum that shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh man, and then in the final exchange with the volleyball, when it's coming back, like after it already hits, Razor and knocks him out of bounds, and it's coming back, or he like returns it back or whatever. Yeah. And then but he's out of bounds, so like if it falls on the ground, they lose. But Hisoka decides to catch it anyway because Gon wanted to win entirely.
Yeah.
And he catches it with the bungee gum, and it's like zooming in the back, and his like
arms are about to break.
Yeah, and his arms are like veiny, and he's like cracking his knuckles, like trying to keep it in. I was just like, God damn, bro.
Hell yeah.
Hisoka's so like it's how can such a fucking pedophile, gross creep, how can he be so tight at the same time?
Know.
One of the best written characters ever. And I'm just like convinced that it's not sexual. Like I just want it to not be sexual, and it's only sexual. Strictly. I know. It's hard to argue against.
There's a hard confirmation that it's sexual in like the fucking like chairman in the chairman election scene when he's talking to Illumi. And he's like, and when he says like in the anime, he's like, should I kill Killua then? And then you get that scene where Lumi's like, should I kill you right now? The hand gesture that he makes like this, he's like, should I kill Killua? This means like have sex with, or like fuck. You know what I mean? So he does this with his hands, but the translation says, should I kill Killua? But it's like, should I do, it's should I do Killua with his hands is what he says. And it's just like, it's like, that's a pretty hard confirmation there.
And he's looking at them cheeks in Greed Island.
While he's walking behind him.
He's behind him, and he's just like, look at that ass.
And they're like, walk in front of us. Yeah.
I mean, I just want something else.
Yeah,
me too, bro.
Like when I first seen Hisoka and his whole thing, I'm like, yo, we gotta get this dude out of here. What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. First impression.
Clown, pedo bastard. What the fuck?
Yeah, bro. I don't want to spend too much time on his pedophilia.
No, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. And then like just like the training arc inside of Greed Island was massive. Just like learning more about like the advanced Nen techniques, and like you're finding out that like Ken and like Ko and like Ryu and shit are just like combinations. They're just like different combinations of the 4 principles still. You know what I mean? But they all have like different applications that make sense for the individual ones that are involved, which is like really fucking cool. You know, like how Ko is like Gyo, you know, but not in the eyes, you know, and it's just like it's shit like that just goated that arc for me. And then of course the final strategy against Genthru was just like so cool to see unfold, because when Gon loses his arms, you're like, what's going on here? You know, like, and I remember you were reading that in the manga, and you hit the manga chat like, bruh, you ain't ready for it. Like, you were farther than me, and you were like, I just read some shit, and I have no idea what this means for the story.
I was fucked up when I read that. I was dead ass, like, I didn't know where I was. Like, I was like, how? Like, how? Like, and you know, like, I really want to just pound on the table and ask Sway how, because I had no idea. Like, oh, Sway! You ain't got the answers, you know? Like, that's because, man, when that happened, and the fucking, that's what's so good about Greed Island. Obviously, that's the fucking pinnacle of the, I mean, it's hard to say that that's the climax over the dodgeball. I feel like they're like dual climaxes almost.
Yeah. I like the dodgeball shit way better than I like the final shit with.
But the thing,
Genthru.
The thing about the fight with Genthru is they're using fucking cards. They're using Greed Island. They used the fucking, you know, like the rock and the fucking oil.
There was literally every single concept that they introduced at the beginning of the arc was used in the final confrontation. He didn't forget a single thing about the world that he set up in this story arc. And, you know, by the end of it, like, it could have very easily just been a Nen fight straight up, you know, at the end. But he was like, no, we're in Greed Island, so... like, let's kind of stick to the program here, which is just
like, company on, motherfucker.
And Bisky, oh my god, when Bisky like leads dude like out like into the forest and then uses a company, he's like, why would he use a company, or why would she use a company? That means I'm going with. And then they go back to like, you know, Pei Ching or whatever the fucking, I don't remember, the Macedora, I think is what it was. Yeah,
it is Macedora.
Yeah, they go back there and they're on the shore, like, or on the beach or whatever, and he's like, you fucked up, you used a company, that means I came with, now you can't run. And, you know, or whatever. And she's like, I don't want to run. I didn't want you to call for help when I beat your ass. And he's like, what? And then they kind of have like a little exchange there. And then like, she's like kind of like waxing him, but she's not really using, you know, like a lot of her strength because she's in her small form. And then he like backhands her or some shit. And then he's like, see, you can't fuck with me. And she was like, I just wanted to let you get a hit on me so I didn't feel that bad about what I'm about to do. And then she like blows up and then pushes his out of the side of the screen again, pushes his fucking face in. And then she's talking about how she hates her like big form because she's ugly or whatever. And he's like, hey, oh, you can't hear me anymore. And she's like holding him up like by his collar, like shaking him like, hey.
That reminds me of Cookie Chan and fucking Killua cussing her out like, your Nen ability is fucking trash. Why would you come up with this? And she said, what the fuck are you talking about? I got the most useful Nen ability ever made.
Yeah,
like,
it might be.
Oh man, Killua though, roasting her like, this is fucking trash and you're an idiot. Why are we even listening to you? Like,
constant training. You're always fresh.
Yes.
You're always clean.
Yes. Yeah, the esthetician.
Yeah. Cookie Chan.
Cookie-chan.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Is there anything else, about that arc? I mean, I just like Gensu's ability, fucking,
Little flower.
And what's the big
Countdown.
one? Is it Countdown is the one where
where he puts he has to tell you that he's the bomber. Yeah. And
or he just has to say bomber. I think like we're looking for the bomber and just touch you. Yeah.
He has to say bomber. And but then in order to start, after he touches you and places the shit on you, he has to tell you everything about his ability and tell you how to defeat it. And you have to catch him and say, I'm the bomber. As soon as he's done with that explanation, the countdown starts.
Yeah.
Countdown. Yeah, it's super sick. One of the frustrating things about going through this in the anime was that when they would get a new card, the card would come up on the screen, and then you'd get like a paragraph of the explanation of how the card worked, but for like 1 second. Yeah, you had to pause it. You had to pause it and read what the card did.
That's good that you bring that up because I feel like because we talk about and I talk about it a lot. Hunter's the perfect anime. There's so many different things that anime give you that like American TV doesn't. Where at the end of the episodes, so early in the Hunter exam, you got Huncyclopedia, the Hunterpedia or whatever.
Yeah, Hunterpedia.
It's Killua. It's Huncyclopedia. That's like what they say, like encyclopedia. But you got that, and then like you got once you get to Greed Island, at the end of every episode is like talks about each card and highlights a card and explains you the card.
Yes.
And then at the end it's like continue. Like I just love like the intermissions, the ends, like just everything. Like it's like literally perfect, like all the way around. And that's
Madhouse OP.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And again, it's like that's why you have to rewatch this shit because it's like you really want to watch the end of every episode, definitely in Greed Island, so you can fucking understand what all these damn cards do.
Yeah.
And even though like a lot of them aren't even like really being used in battle, but it's like Breath of Archangel.
Lore. It's just for lore.
For lore. Yeah. And you really need to know about Breath of Archangel, and you need to know about a company and magnetic field, and like you need to know like about enough cards, that and it's just interesting. And I mean I always love that kind of shit. You get extra lore that's not super pertinent to the story, but it opens the world.
Yeah, 100% for sure. For the sake of time,
there are those who think.
Yeah.
Oh
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say there are those who think that Razor was gonna solo the members of the Phantom Troop.
Yeah. He did say some shit like that, didn't he? Or no, I think they said something.
He was basically like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah.
Like I'll smash all of you. But then he like sent him away with a card.
Yeah, and I would have loved to see like a tried and true emitter fight full power, like an actually like wildly capable one. You know what I mean? Because we only ever saw him like really use all of his ability inside of a dodgeball game, and it was really impressive. But like I would love, like I don't think we've seen a real emitter fight in the series.
No, you get like Franklin shooting his finger guns. You get Leorio and Jing. But not really. Now that I think about it,
would have loved to see that, but. For the sake of time, I kind of want to like lightly touch on the Chimera Ant arc. It depends on how long you guys really want to talk about it, but I mean, like there's still a whole another arc after that, and we've already like been kind of going for almost an hour and a half here. So I mean, like maybe like one like and maybe we can revisit like just like a strict analysis of the Chimera Ant saga, like in through and through from start to finish if we want to do a later episode for it. But I feel like in a lot of our other episodes we've talked about the Chimera Ant saga a lot, so I kind of just want to like lightly touch on it, and then move into like our favorite things about the chairman election, and then wrap it up. So definitely. So like one major thing or like takeaway or your favorite thing from Chimera Ant, and then we can move into chairman election.
Okay, I mean I'll go. I'll just do like something quick that's not like a super. It's not going to give you like a lot of the story. So obviously we're expecting you've already have seen the story, but possibly one of the greatest YouTube videos you can watch if you just want like a minute or two of anime action is fucking Gon about to rock Moral to death.
Yes,
that's the hardest, bro. It's the hardest shit ever too, because he's like, Moral's like, you say you're ready, but I don't believe your bitch ass. Like, hit bow.
He's like, hit me with all your might, and if your attack isn't tight, you're not coming to M.A.N.G.A with us. He says,
you're not coming.
Pete, Pete hits the Roshi flex with the aura spikes coming out, and then
that
Gon
shit was crazy.
Gon says, "As hard as I can." Word? All right. And then you get the OST. And it like starts to like build up. And he says, yeah. And when the fucking when the Jajankin like forms, it's the tightest animation besides when he fights Pitou. But I feel like that is my favorite time that he charges the Jajankin is in this scene, because it's like it like just the way that it's like handled in the animation, and then like he's like building it up, and like Moral's like kind of like starting to be like, okay, wait a minute, hold on now, and then the light leaves his eyes. When the light leaves Gon's eyes, bro, and it's just the flat black like in his face, and Moral like literally like steps back a second.
It's like an extra power spike too. The trees get blown back, like the fucking tiles on the roof start coming off and shit. And fucking, it was tight too, because like even before that, where Knuckles like, Moral already said he's coming with, like he's just bluffing on this shit. Like he just wants to see like what's really good with Gon. And you know, and then he's like imagining what happened to Kite, obviously, and putting Pitou in the place of Moral. Like this is what I'm about to do to Pitou when I see her, him, her, whatever. And and then you know, Killua just tops one. That's enough, buddy. And he's
I
like,
love it.
And then he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry, Moral-san, I was about to kill your ass.
And Moral was like,
Moral's like, maybe you was, man.
I shouldn't have asked the fucking enhancer to punch me dead on. Like,
what are you thinking?
I'm not an enhancer. I shouldn't ask for an enhancer to just steal on me.
And not free. Even that you're not an enhancer, like you're a support type. Like how many times are grown men in this series gonna underestimate, like Sezagera in back in Greed Island, like when they're doing the jumping test or whatever, and he's like, this is how high I can jump, as like, I think he's like a single star hunter or something like that, which is still a really big deal, but he jumps up as high as he can, and then Gon and Killua go up like a mile higher than him, and he like tries to blame it on old age. It's like, I hate getting old, but I don't know. Eagle, what's your favorite moment in the Chimera? Old. What's your favorite moment in the Chimera Ant Saga?
In the Chimera Ant Saga, my favorite thing, it's got to be just in like the early stages, Kite getting attacked by Pitou.
Yes, bro.
And getting his arm taken. Yes. Obviously, the shit that goes down with Gon and Killua right there.
Yes.
They take off. And then just this whole chain of events I like a lot, because it's like you get that happens, and then it moves into that whole that part where they're both super fucked up, like emotionally.
Yeah.
And you get that whole "Gon, you are light" speech from Killua.
Yeah. And then Gon's like, Kite's alive.
Yeah, and then you get that fucking scene where it's like literally like the hot spring or whatever, and Pitou's talking to the penguin dude, I'm pretty sure, and it like pans up onto her, and she's just got fucking this dude's head.
Yeah.
Fucking water, and you're just like, man, my God.
She's like, yeah, I guess I am pretty strong. Like, fam.
But yeah, that's
that episode,
my favorite moment.
Yeah. That's one of the single best episodes of anime ever made, because like, so they just got done fighting those other Chimera right before that.
Yeah, and they're like, we got this.
Yeah, and they're like walking up to it, and like Kite's giving like really fucking encouraging words to them, like, hey, y'all just need experience now. Like, y'all got everything. You just need to be in it. I trust you. We're about to do this shit. Like, everything's good. Like, trust me. Everything will work out, you know, and like you get like that really lighthearted fucking hunter music, and it's like,
and feels then the flashback to like when Gon first met Kite with the in the Fox Bear territory, which you actually don't get that. That's actually in the first chapter of the manga. Your first time meeting Kite is in the first chapter of the manga, and that scene that they flash back to in that moment in the anime is actually a scene from the very first chapter of the manga. So a lot of people don't know that, but.
Yeah, and that's good. It flows well enough in the anime that like they did that just fine to give us what was omitted,
Yeah.
but and make it make sense. But it's just like so lighthearted and happy feeling going
and then
into
Kite
that
feels
shit.
Pito's end.
Yeah, and then can feel the end, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah,
now,
he's like,
you
"Get
know?
away from me right now!" And she's
literally the second he feels it, he's like,
yeah, he's like,
Pokemundo.
Yeah,
that's a monster.
Yeah. He starts sweating. He's like, "Oh, wait," and then like you see Pito on the side of the mound. And she's like hanging there, and then she's like, "All right, there they go." And then she fucking
the thighs, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Launched her fucking self, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
It's wild.
He's like, "Get away from me!" And the arm's just gone. Oh no! And then the arm like flies and like flops in front of Gon, and Gon's like,
Gon tried to hit that.
And then kill it
hit him with the overhand smash.
Yes, bro. Oh my god, man. God, that scene, dude. And like another crazy part of like the Chimera Ant saga is like when Ponzu is like when the ants are like first like reaching like civilization, and like Ponzu and Paco are like, "We got to tell people about this. Let's split up and like let's get out of here and like let's go figure this shit out." And then Ponzu's like, "I got to tell the Hunter Association." And she just gets shot in the forehead by the fucking ant, like the crustacean ant with like a gun for some reason.
The Black Forces ant, you know, like
then
air, just shooting all over the place, and then starts airing her corpse out on the ground.
Yeah, shoots her in the forehead, and then he's laughing maniacally, shooting her like over and over again, and you see her legs like bouncing like with every time she gets shot.
That is fucked up.
And you're like, yo, bro. So fucking crazy. And I don't know, man. And like it was just so, I mean, probably my favorite moment. Oh man, it's hard to really say. I mean, like when you first start learning about like phagogenesis in the beginning, and you see like that Togashi wanted to give you other hunters that are doing shit that are not combat types, that are like, you know, like researchers and, you know, and shit like that. And
my man Stick
Dinner and Spinner Crow and Teddy Bear Dude or whatever the fuck his name is, but like you see all of them, and like it's
Teddy Bear.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that Togashi's really trying to like make you think that this arc is like he just does a really good job of like building the stakes and the tension, you know, from the beginning until like it's just a beautiful thing moving into the crescendo. But probably my favorite moment is a tie between Nove going to place the portals and the first initial invasion, when you see, because Netero was like, because when Colt comes after the king is born
with the white
flag, and he goes to Netero and he's like, "Look, man, they're on some other shit, like the queen's dying, like I surrender, just like help me save the queen, I'm not really even fucking with the ants no more." And Netero's like, "All right, bet, but you seen the king, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's a monster." And he's like, "How does it compare to me?" And he flexes his nen at him, which is very reminiscent of, you know, the Cell saga of Dragon Ball, like we talked about on this channel before. But and Colt's like, "Yo, your nen is crazy, but like you still have no chance against that thing." And he's like, "Bet, I'll be right back, I'm gonna go hit up my homie." And you like don't see him again, you know what I mean? And then like you forget, like at least I did, when the invasion was happening, and you get the narrator talking about how like over the palace there was a dragon in the sky, and two men riding on the dragon, like coming down, and you see Netero, and then you see another old face, you know, but it's too zoomed in and you don't really know. But then you realize it at the last second. You're like, wait a minute. And then it zooms out like right after that. And they're both on the fucking dragon head. You're the Zeno's dragon. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah, you're like Zeno. You're like, holy fucking shit. And then Pito, you get that narration where like Pito had no reason to look up. Like she just looked up like just because, and like noticed it, and she went to go, like she stopped putting her N around the whole palace and shot it straight up towards the dragon, you know. But then Netero and Zeno jump off the dragon and jump right into the N, and then she sees him and goes and like runs up on him with Terpsichora, and then Netero's like, oh. And you just get that like little like laugh from him, and you're like, oh shit. And then he like does the fucking like, you know, the emitter attack like from under him and sends her fucking flying, bro. He's like, it'd be cool if you just didn't come back. it slapped her like a mile away. I was like, oh my god, that's probably the most hype moment for me for sure.
Well, you get the explanation that like wherever Dr. Blythe is summoned, that's where she is. So like
Yes.
when that's how Pitot can fucking recover is to summon fucking Dr. Blythe,
Because
and
it
then
can't
her tail
move from its summoning position, yeah.
and it's stuck to her tail, and so she's
Yeah.
like holding on her tail like a rope to try to like pull herself back towards
Yeah.
Dr. Blythe to stop the fucking momentum.
Yes.
And then she falls, and like while she's falling, you get like, I'm pretty sure you get narrator right there where he's like, this fall took like, it felt like fucking eternity to her for her to fall and hit the ground before she could hit the ground and just try to run back to the fucking palace.
And when
like,
she lands on the ground and like her thighs like swell up again, the narrator says her thighs swelled up to almost 4 times the size as the attack on Kite. Just decided to say that. Her shit is like just giant watermelons.
Thighs thick as a motherfucker.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That's that
You see
whole
his
scene.
veins?
Yeah, and then like when Yuppie like destroys the like stairs, because like it's like in that scene where like, because you see the start of the invasion with them dealing with Yuppie for a second, and then like the Hakaware gets placed on him, and then it switches over to Netero and Zeno, talking to the king basically, or like finding Komugi, like on the ground with the dragon lance pierced her. And they have that sentimental scene where the king is like, yo, Komugi, like fix her, please, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, holy shit. And then it switches back to the shit, and the narrator's like, Yuppie destroyed the stairs. And then you just see like the animation like for like him like making his arm like gigantic and like smashing the stairs and shit. It's just like, it was just such a well composed like moment in the story in that episode. But yeah, man, Chimera Ant. If I had to say, I don't know.
Arc.
I would say my favorite arc, we'll switch back and forth, between Yorkshire City Auction and like Hunter Exam pretty regularly. But like, even though those are my favorite arcs, Chimera Ant is the best arc. You know what I mean? Like,
it's hard to argue against.
Yeah, but it just does so much that you'll never see again in shonen storytelling, at least. But
yeah.
All right, let's move into chairman election. Let's wrap this up. What's you guys' favorite moment in the chairman election arc?
I mean, I think it's not a whole lot to this. I think we can all kind of just agree that the best part of this is fucking Leorio decking the shit out of Ging.
I don't agree, but I won't argue with you.
Even though Jing, definitely was like, he discerned, like later on we learned that he was like, yeah, I took that shit.
Yeah, he knew that.
So yeah, of course. Oh my
all
god,
part of the plan, calculated.
Yeah,
it's that, and then the talk at the top of the tree,
the world tree.
Yeah.
I mean, all of my favorite moments in the auction or in the chairman election arc involve Pariston, but
Pariston is a goat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you could definitely go into Pariston, but this is very reminiscent to me of the Yorknu arc in the sense that there's 2 plot points again converging, and you have Killua with Aluka trying to escape fucking Illumi, and yeah, you already talked about it a little bit too, where fucking Hisoka bluffs towards Illumi like, maybe I should kill Killua then, and just get the fucking the best killing intent you can get
that you've ever seen, especially in the manga. It's way better in the manga than that.
Yeah, and the birds just fly out of the fucking trees and all that shit. You're just like, damn, this shit is wild.
Yeah,
and
his hair is
I mean,
flying
just Aluka's fucking Nen ability and like the rules around it, and obviously.
But it's like, is it a Nen ability though? Because I'm pretty sure we got confirmation that Aluka is actually Ai from the Dark Continent. That like weird calamity.
Yeah, I remember that, but it's definitely a Nen ability. If anything, you could say like Nanika might be like
it might be the calamity part, but then it's still it's a Nen ability for sure.
And it's kind of similar to like the fuck they call Spirit Beast or whatever the fuck they get the kings in the Succession War arc or whatever the
Nen Beast.
Nen Beast. So I don't know, maybe it's something like that, but regardless, I mean, people getting fucking folded up into a penny and shit,
twisted up into a braid and juiced. That shit's fucking wild.
Some wild shit there. So yeah, I mean, I really like just the fact that there's 2 different stories going on at the same time that are converging, and obviously the climax to that is Gon, running in to fucking talk to Jing.
Yeah,
and you know, the world tree thing is, and that was the point that we were trying to get to from both, basically both sides. I mean, the election arc wasn't really trying to get Gon to be back alive, but players in the election arc were definitely trying to, you know, fix Gon. So
yeah, for sure. Probably my number one favorite scene though. Like, even though like my favorite thing about the Chairman Election arc is like Pariston and his like role like in everything, just because I just like those, and he's the rat Zodiac, you know what I mean? And he's just like, you can never tell by his like, just his face is such a punchable face, but at the same time it's like such a cool character like that you can't help but love. But maybe you hate him, I don't know, but I love his character. But my number one favorite scene
wouldn't mind smacking him.
Yeah, my number one favorite scene though in the Chairman Election arc is Goto versus Hisoka.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Yeah, because that was just
that is
like,
the best part to me.
Yeah, it's just like, yo, like, it's a really good fight, and like you're like not expecting like to. I wasn't expecting to even see Goto again, really like that, and then he comes into the series, gets a full power fight, but then dies at the end, and you're like, no.
Goto was that boy, man.
He was the guy. His Nen was so cool with the coins and shit, dude. Like.
And he almost damn near had Hisoka there for a second.
I feel like Hisoka
was twisting him.
The arm sick.
Oh yeah.
He twisted his arms up pretty good there.
Yeah.
You know, for a second he had him on, you know, on the back foot, but Hisoka turned it around.
Yeah.
Throughout the story, I never imagined to see Hisoka using bungee gum to basically like pull himself through trees to fly around like that. Like obviously that makes sense as an ability, but to me, it always kind of felt like, I don't think we'll ever see this again. You know, like I felt this was like a one fight ability.
Yeah. Bungee gum traps.
Yeah.
Like on the ground and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about the Chairman Election arc before we wrap?
No, I think that's about it.
Any closing statements about the series in general?
Read the manga. Hopefully we get it back. Yeah, I mean Togashi, you know, is the god. I wish we could get some chapters. You know,
I swear to God, man, Togashi, let's go, man.
I know, like just
let's go.
Figure it out. Like get an illustrator, like the side story, like the Hisoka fucking backstory that was illustrated by Tokyo Ghoul Buddy, and that shit was not very good illustrated, and I enjoyed it.
It was still really good. He could definitely figure it out.
Good.
For some reason, he just wants. He's counting his yen with his feet up while the Dragon Quest DLC downloads, knowing we out here starving. Like, what are you doing?
Before we go though, like this is spoilery. If you haven't read the manga, it doesn't matter. You should still listen to this because this should spark you to read the rest of the chapters after the anime. Hisoka versus Crollo is a fucking beautiful fight.
The best 1v1 fight in the whole series. And it's a death match in Heaven's Arena. One of them loses. So if you don't know, you should definitely go read that shit, because that's a major plot point in Hisoka's character arc, and it finally comes to a head. You know, and that's
and your butt cheeks gonna be on clench the whole time.
It's
about to learn something.
There's actually a really good colored and animated version of that fight with all the dialogue and shit on YouTube,
isn't it?
I'll put that. I'll put that link in the description. Yeah, it's super good. It's like it's literally like it's like a motion comic, so it's not like it's not like big budget animation, but like it's everything.
Good voice acting too.
Yeah, it's everything you'd need it to be. You know, knowing that it's not like an official anime production. The last thing that I want to say is that if you've only seen Hunter x Hunter one time in the anime, watch it again, because there's a lot that you miss, or that you probably miss, I'll say. And
you for sure missed.
And I just don't want to.
It doesn't matter if you got a 550 IQ. You know, like
it's just there's just so much, and and regardless of if you caught everything. I mean, or most of whatever you want to say, like going through it, knowing what happens is an entirely different experience. So, but that's gonna do it for this episode of Tangential Tie-ins. Thanks for joining us if you did. Hope that this was a good, conversation topic in lieu of jump coverage. We'll be back, I think Monday or Sunday, whenever the new chapters come out. But yeah, go ahead and smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Smash the subscribe button if you're new to the Project Manga podcast, and you can hit the bell icon next to subscribe, and we'll chirp y'all when the new video is online. Visit the link tree in the description. That's going to be where I put whatever links I said I was going to put in there throughout the video, as well as our link tree with all of our social media accounts and all of our online communities, including our Discord. Giveaway this Friday at noon. I'll be live on Instagram and Facebook to give away the figures, so members of the Discord, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. I'm Noxy.
It's your man's Kiko out here.
Eagle.
Catch y'all next time.